Kelechi woke before the rooster because the same dream came again. In the dream, red fire ran like a wild goat across the roof of her family hut. Smoke climbed the sky. The drum in the square was silent. She tried to shout, but her voice felt trapped in a calabash. When she woke, her chest beat fast. She touched the wall. It was cool clay. She listened to the sleepy village of Nta, frogs near the stream, a far owl, Mama's soft snore. Just a dream, Mama Ige murmured, pulling Kelechi close. But Kelechi stared at the roof. The moonlight shook, like heat in the air. Her heart whispered, listen. She did not know how to listen to a dream, but the dream felt like a hand on her shoulder, gentle and firm. She closed her eyes and let the quiet speak. Morning came bright and dry. The Harmattan wind made leaves scratch the ground like thin brooms. Papa Obi tied his wrapper and checked the cooking place. We need water, he said. Kelechi walked with Mama Ige to the stream with clay pots on their heads. She kept looking at smoking cook fires in other compounds. Each flame looked like a small eye watching her. At the stream, she froze. A burnt palm leaf floated past, black and cold. Who burned a palm? Mama asked. Kelechi touched the leaf. It felt warm, even in the cool water. On the path home, dogs barked at nothing. By noon, old Baba Udo shouted that sparks flew from the sky near the market roof. People laughed at him, because the sky was blue and clear. But when Kelechi blinked, she saw a tiny red point on the thatch, bright like a pepper seed. Kelechi ran. Water! Water! She cried. Men grabbed calabashes, women formed a line, children fetched sand. The red dot on the market roof spread like a crack in a pot. Then it hissed and died under wet cloths. People cheered and patted each other. Some looked at Kelechi with new eyes. How did you see it first? Asked Ede Blue, the cloth seller. Kelechi told her about the dream. A few nodded. Others frowned. Elder Nana tapped his staff. Dreams are warnings, he said, but sometimes they also bring fear we do not need. Papa Obi hugged Kelechi. She saved our roof, he said. But when night returned, Kelechi's fear came back too. She slept and saw fire again, bigger now. It ran along the fence of the yam barn. In the dream, something shiny hid under the flames, an ember trapped inside a broken pot. A woman's voice whispered, return what was taken. Kelechi went to the yam barn at first light. The air smelled like old ash. She dug near the fence with a stick. Mama Ige came running. What are you doing? She asked. Looking for a broken pot, Kelechi said. Papa Obi joined them and helped dig. Soon her stick hit clay. They pulled out a small pot, cracked and black at the mouth. Inside lay a red stone the size of a kola nut. It glowed as if it had a heartbeat. Everyone stepped back. Do not touch, Mama said. Elder Nana arrived, breathing hard. He looked at the glowing stone and then at Kelechi. Long ago, he said, a fire spirit was kept in a clay pot to light festivals. A careless chief used it to boast and did not return it to the forest altar. Since then, fire visits when it wants. He stared at the stone. This may be that ember. Word spread through Nta like wind through dry grass. Some people called Kelechi brave. Others called her trouble. Since the girl spoke, fire came, then the trader muttered. Maybe her dreams call it. Kelechi felt small, like a seed on the road. But the ember paused, slow and sad, inside the cracked pot. At dusk, the sky turned copper. A dry gust ran through the village and lifted sparks from cooking flames. Kelechi's body went cold. She saw, as if in a picture, the sparks flying, the roofs catching, the running feet. Return what was taken, the dream voice whispered again. Elder Nana nodded. We must take the ember back to the forest altar on Okuta Hill, he said. No boasting, no drumming. Quiet feet, calm hearts. He looked at Kelechi. You will lead. It speaks to you. Papa Obi's mouth tightened, but he raised his chin. I walk with my child, he said. They set out at night with only moonlight and small gourds of water. Kelechi walked in front, holding the pot with both hands, wrapped in wet cloth. The embers' glow touched her face like dawn. Mama Ige carried salt and kola nut. Papa Obi carried palm fronds. Elder Nana brought white chalk. Ede Blue and two boys, Tond and Sola, followed with calabashes. They did not talk. They breathed together. Owls watched from the Iroko. At the foot of Okuta Hill, a thin wind sang in the rocks. Kelechi's feet knew where to step, like the dream had drawn a map in her bones. The path curled like a snake. Halfway up, a brush fire woke beside the trail, bright and hungry. Ton panicked and bolted. The flames jumped to chase him. Stop! Kelechi cried. Do not run. Fire runs faster. She poured water in a wide circle. The fire reached the wet sand and hissed, stuck like gum. They reached the altar, a flat stone in a small clearing, ringed by tall trees. Old ash lay there like grey cloth. Kelechi placed the cracked pot on the altar. The ember brightened, then went soft. Elder Nana drew a circle with chalk. We return what was taken, he said, voice low. Not with fear. With respect. Papa Obi laid the palm fronds. Mama Ige put the kola in 4 pieces, one at each corner of the stone. Ede Blue added a blue cloth, smooth and clean. Kelechi closed her eyes. I am sorry, she whispered to the ember, to the hill, to the night, to the woman's voice in her dreams. The ember slowed its glow, like a heartbeat coming after a run. The trees stopped shivering. A cool breath moved over the group. Somewhere, a hidden bird sang a tiny note, like thank you. On the walk home, the moon seemed bigger, and the wind smelled like wet earth, even though no rain fell. When they reached Nto, they found the village awake and afraid. Small fires had started in 3 places, but they had not spread. The people held buckets and stood ready. Then, as if a hand covered the sparks, each one died, leaving only thin smoke. Then the trader stared at Kelechi, shame on his face. I spoke wrong, he said. Your dream did not call fire. It warned us. Kelechi felt tears she did not expect. Fear that had lived in her shoulders slid away like a scarf. We must still be careful, Elder Nana said. No big cooking tonight. Keep water near. Speak softly. Fear is a wind. It can make small fire big. Days passed. The dry season softened. People began a new habit. At sunrise and at dusk, they kept 1 minute of stillness. They listened to the air, to the goats, to the small lick of flames under pots, to the quiet voice inside each person. Kelechi learned to breathe slow when she felt a hot worry climb her neck. When a neighbor forgot a fire and left, Kelechi's dream now came like a gentle tap, not a shout. She would walk over, lower the flame, and smile. The village thanked her with ripe mango, palm oil, a hair ribbon, and a story song made by the children. Sometimes she dreamed of the ember sleeping in its clay bed on the hill. In those dreams, it did not chase. It waited like a guard, keeping watch so that light and warmth could stay, and danger could pass. On the night of the first rain, the whole village gathered in the square. Drums spoke again, but not to boast, only to bless. Elder Nana painted white dots on Kelechi's forehead. You listened, he said. You returned what was taken. You taught us to be quiet enough to hear our own good sense. Papa Obi lifted Kelechi high. Mama Ige's laugh rang like a bell. Ede Blue tied a small blue bead at Kelechi's wrist. Clouds rolled and burst. Rain washed the dust, the fear, and the old smoke smell. Children jumped in puddles. Women lifted faces to the sky. Men stamped the ground with happy feet. Kelechi closed her eyes and felt the cool drops. Inside, she heard the small voice again, no longer afraid. It said, "Light lives where care lives." She opened her eyes and smiled. Nto shone, wet and safe, and the fire in her dreams was no longer a monster. It was a teacher that had found its home.